Hello. Today I want to talk about the HIV, the human immunodeficiency virus. I want to introduce you a brief definition of what it is, the different transmission ways when you are an active participant and when you are a passive participant, some global statistics and some United States statistics. I will tell you how to prevent it, how to treat it, and some conclusions about the HIV. Well, the HIV is the human immunodeficiency virus. It is a retrovirus that infects the cells of the immune system. It is like a hurricane. A retrovirus replicate forward and backward against the immune system, destroying or impairing the functions of the cells. This infection results in the progressive deterioration of the immune system. And you know, it's breaking down the body's ability to defend of some infections and other diseases. It is destroying the body's ability to fight against this infection. And once the infections progress, the immune system becomes weaker and weaker, and the person becomes more susceptible to other infections. The body is not ready to fight against this infection that is inside of the body. Once the infection goes to the next step, the most advanced stage or the higher stage of HIV infection is called AIDS, that is Acquired Immunodeficiency Syndrome. Probably it can take between 10 to 15 years for an HIV-infected person to develop AIDS, and it is if not treated timely. Well, now you know what it is, and now I want to tell you how it is transmitted. The different transmission ways are if you are being an active participant or a passive participant. An active participant is when you are aware, when you assume the risks, when you know, when you are doing intentionally or deliberately the things. For example, if you are having unprotected sexual intercourse with an infected person, anal or vaginal, of course you don't know that the other person is infected, but you are assuming the risk with an unprotected sexual intercourse. Or when you are sharing contaminated needles, you don't know that needles are contaminated, but you are sharing. And passive participants is, for example, when you are getting transfusions of contaminated blood, or between a mother and her infant during pregnancy, or breastfeeding, or during the childbirth. Well, now we know what it is, how it's infected, and let's talk about a little bit more about some statistics around the world. There are 34 million people living with HIV right now worldwide. You know, 34 million people, and an estimated of 2.5 million people were newly infected with the virus since 2011, and then in 2012 2.5 million people, and for this 2013 probably 2 million more people newly infected. It means that 5 people per minute is being newly infected with HIV. Probably when I finish to record this video, 35 or 40 new persons will be infected with HIV. About 25 million people have died since 1981 to date with HIV. If you add 25 million people dead, plus 34 million people living with HIV, it means that 59 million people is being infected or is being dying with this virus. It's a huge amount. It's a huge figure if we don't know, if we don't realize how aggressive is this infection. An estimated of 1.7 million people died every year since 2011 to date. An estimated of 3.4 million are children less than 15 years living with HIV nowadays. And you know what is the worst of all? That 1 of each 5 persons which is infected, they don't know that are infected. What it means, if 34 million people is infected, but the 20% doesn't know that they are infected, it means that 6.8 million people is infected without knowing. Imagine an army with 6.8 million people in a war, fighting, shooting. How many people can they infect with this virus? Well, let's talk about the prevention. Now we know how dangerous it is, we know how to get infected. Let's talk about the prevention. Mother to child, the mother to child transmission of HIV is almost entirely avoidable. If the mother gets tested during pregnancy and to know if it's positive or not, or if you have a cesarean rather than vaginal delivery, it's better to avoid the transmission to the child. Or if the baby received treatment during the first 4 weeks after we're born, if of course if the mother is infected, or if go to the government healthcare offices to get the treatment, the recommendation by the World Health Organization, or if start taking antiretroviral therapy, or if do not breast to the child if there are several or safety other alternatives. You know, the most important is to avoid, to prevent. For example, with the relations, sexual intercourse, abstain from sex. Or if you have if you are in a relationship, remain faithful with a faithful uninfected partner, of course. Or practice safe sexual behaviors, just using condoms for males or for females, but protect. What a condom is, if you know, condom is a sheet of what is worn over the penis or inside the vagina to protect against sexually transmitted infections. Here, the most important is to know what dangerous it is. If you get tested and treated timely with sexually transmitted infections, including HIV, you can prevent to infect other people. If you avoid injecting drugs with needles or syringes, or if you do so, please use new and disposable needles and syringes each time you use the drugs. Or ensure that any blood or blood products that you might need are tested for HIV, and practice only non-penetrative sex. It has different ways to avoid getting infected. I hope you don't need to treat it, but if so, I will tell you how to treat it. There are different treatments. Antiretroviral therapy. HIV can be suppressed by combination of antiretroviral therapy, consisting of 3 or more antiretroviral drugs. Of course, antiretroviral therapy does not cure the infection of HIV, but controls the viral replications within a person's body and allows to the individual's immune system to strengthen and to fight and try to regain the capacity to fight against any infections. With antiretroviral therapy, the people living with HIV can live healthy and productive lives. It improves the quality of their lives, but it is the most important once you get infected. Another treatment that you can receive when you are infected is going to the combination, the antiretroviral therapy with multiplying in the body. If the cells or if the production of HIV virus stops, then the body immune cells are available to live longer. The cells are able to live longer and to provide the body the protections from other infections. What is the most important? Of course, HIV doesn't have a cure. But for conclusion, HIV is the world's leading infections killer. Now you know. I wanted to inform you and wanted to warn you. Now you know you need to act, you need to prevent, you need to share. You know how it is, how to get infected, and you know how to prevent it. You know how dangerous it is. I hope you don't need how to treat it, but if so, you also know how to treat it. Goodbye.